The abyssal zone, marked by cold and darkness, was long thought to be a near-desert environment. Late 19th century oceanographic expeditions revealed that the deep sea relied entirely on particle rain from the surface as its food source, a framework taught widely for decades. In February 1977, this view was appended when the submersible Alvin explored the Galapagos Rift at 2,500 meters and discovered thriving communities of large, unusual organisms around warm vents. Temperatures at these hydrothermal vents were about 10 degrees Celsius higher than the surrounding 2 degrees Celsius waters, and the vibrant population starkly contrasted with the barren basaltic ridges. Researchers introduced names like giant tubeworm, spaghetti worm, and giant clam to describe the new species. Subsequent expeditions accelerated discoveries. A Franco-American team observed high-temperature emissions along the East Pacific Rise, where dense black plumes and sulfide chimneys formed habitats for wrinkled zoarcid fish, red-plumed tubeworms, clams, shrimp, and Pompeii worms lining chimneys up to 20 meters tall. These vents baffled scientists only briefly. Hydrothermal circulation begins as seawater seeps through basalt cracks, heats to over 350 degrees Celsius, and becomes rich in sulfides, methane, and carbon dioxide. Upon escaping, these elements form black smoker chimneys and create 20 degrees Celsius oases, despite the toxicity and pressure of the environment. Life at these vents thrives through chemosynthesis. Bacteria use chemicals in the vent fluids to produce organic matter, substituting chemical energy for sunlight as the basis of the ecosystem. This groundbreaking discovery redefined oceanography, introducing chemosynthesis alongside photosynthesis in biology textbooks. Since 1977, hydrothermal vents have been found on submarine volcanoes and ridges in the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans. Over 600 new species and microorganisms, including thermophiles with biotechnological applications, have been identified. The discovery of vents also challenged perceptions of life's dependence on sunlight, raising questions about Earth's origins. Hydrothermal conditions at Earth's dawn may have fostered the first molecules of life, influencing the search for life in similar environments, such as on Jupiter's moon Europa. Extraterrestrial life, as microbes in extreme conditions, is now considered plausible. Imagine a jacuzzi with gentle jets or a shaken soda with rising bubbles, but these bubbles are filled with methane instead of air or carbon dioxide. This resembles what is observed at cold seeps, unique ocean floor ecosystems where clams, mussels, and tubeworms thrive on chemicals seeping from the seabed. Before their discovery in 1984, scientists thought chemosynthetic systems were limited to hydrothermal vents. Cold seeps, now identified in all oceans at depths of 15 to over 7,800 meters, host specialized communities below 200 meters. Methane, the main component of natural gas, forms in the Earth's crust from decomposing organic matter like plankton over millions of years. As methane rises, microbes consume it and produce sulfide, which supports chemosynthetic communities similar to vent fauna. Methane seeps create oases of life, often emerging through tectonic activity or exposed deposits, sometimes linked to hydrocarbons like oil and tar. The first seep communities, found in the Gulf of Mexico near brine pools, revealed unique fauna. These pools, formed by ancient salt deposits, behave like underwater lakes due to their high salinity. Deep-sea methane reserves, which form ice-like hydrates under pressure, may surpass traditional fossil fuels in quantity but are challenging to extract. Methane's greenhouse potential also links it to past rapid warming events in Earth's history. Cold seeps, unlike vent ecosystems, persist for centuries due to their stable, ambient conditions. Some tubeworms in these habitats live over 200 years. Despite their biodiversity and ecological significance, most cold seeps and their species remain undiscovered. Key mysteries include species reproduction, colonization, and interrelationships. Studying these ecosystems may offer insights into climate change, deep-sea evolution, and the potential for life in hostile extraterrestrial environments. This very beautiful jellyfish is a species typically found in deep waters, though it can also be observed at the surface in the Arctic and Antarctic. While animals with a common distribution at both poles are quite rare, those that share their abyssal habitat with the surface of one of the poles are less so. Interactions with humans are few as this species primarily occurs at great depth. Although it has been found that hydrozoans have increased in numbers in recent years. The pale to dark green female Bonelia, with 15 centimeters long, round or sausage-shaped body, lives on the seafloor at a depth of 10 to 4,500 meters, concealed by burrowing in gravel or hiding in rock crevasses or burrows abandoned by other animals. It has 2 anchoring hooks underneath its body and an extensible feeding proboscis up to 10 times its body length. It is mainly a detritivore, feeding also on small animals. The sex of a green spoonworm is thus determined by external, environmental factors, not by internal, genetic factors, as is the case with most other sexually differentiated organisms. This environmental sex determination helps green spoonworm populations respond to the availability of burrows. Immediately above the substrate, currents are non-existent, but they increase rapidly as you move away from the seafloor. This is why a perch, whether mineral or animal, is highly valued by deep-sea creatures. Just a few centimeters of elevation are enough to improve the capture of particles suspended in the water. This crinoid, the largest and most abundant in the southern oceans, intercepts them with its crown-like, outstretched arms. Tiny cilia then transport the food to the mouth, located at the center of the animal. This crinoid is one of 2 living genera that has 10 radial ossicles, each giving rise to a pair of arms. There is a single canal in each radial ossicle and no basal rays. At the base are a number of clawed structures known as cirri. If deep-sea tourism were developed, there's no doubt that people would flock to admire the unusual beauty of deep coral reefs. Or rather, what remains of them, as fishing trawlers have already destroyed up to 50% of some reefs, such as those off the coast of Norway. With a maximum growth rate of just 2.5 centimeters per year, deep corals are extremely vulnerable animals. Living coral ranges in color from white to orange-red. Each polyp has up to 16 tentacles and is a translucent pink, yellow, or white. Unlike most tropical corals, the polyps are not interconnected by living tissue. Some colonies have larger polyps while others have small and delicate-looking gonads. Radiocarbon dating indicates that some Lophelia reefs in the waters off North Carolina may be 40,000 years old, with individual living coral bushes as much as 1,000 years old. Lophelia beds create a specialized habitat favored by many species of deepwater fishes. 5. Paraphila. Paraphila is a spectacularly large jellyfish that, oddly, thrives in certain fjords of Norway, where it is up to 1,000 times more abundant than in the oceans. As the primary predators in these semi-closed ecosystems, the helmeted jellyfish occupy all available resources, dangerously competing with the local fauna. While typically found at great depths, the polar conditions are so similar to those of the abyss that it's possible to observe some of these creatures at the surface. It is highly likely that Paraphila is the most widespread deep-sea jellyfish in the world. Through their vertical swimming, the jellyfish can swim several different speeds. The majority of their vertical swimming is seen at a speed of 2 centimeters per second. If they are swimming at full speed, they can reach over 10 centimeters per second, but this is only for a short time span. If they do reach this speed, it is assumed that they follow this with a time of no vertical movement. This remarkable octopus, resembling a small ghost wrapped in a transparent gelatinous cloak, lives exclusively in the midwater zone. Its telescopic, rotating eyes likely help it spot the silhouettes of prey above it. However, much of what we know about this unusual creature remains speculative, as its biology is still largely unknown. It is the only octopus to have tubular eyes, which is the reason it is commonly referred to as telescope octopus. Being a deep-sea scavenger doesn't mean one can't hunt for a living meal. In general, these animals are opportunists that take advantage of any available food. The leaf-scale gulper shark has no anal fin, 2 dorsal fins with spines, the first dorsal being relatively low and long, large eyes, and rough leaf-like denticles. Its maximum length is 160 centimeters. It is reported to have a lifespan of approximately 70 years, based on otolith ring counts. It was the first described species in the genus Centrophorus, which now contains 13 species. Its meat is utilized dried and salted for human consumption and as fish meal. The Stomias boa not only has enormous jaws like many of its abyssal counterparts, but it also possesses an extraordinary ability to dislocate them, much like snakes, allowing it to swallow large prey. It lures its victims with the bioluminescent organ that hangs from the tip of its barb, and when they are close enough, it snaps its jaws forward at lightning speed. It has large light-producing photophores behind the eyes and other smaller ones scattered across the body in a geometrical pattern, mostly on the ventral surface. Special organs near the eyes detect the amount of illumination in the surrounding water, and this enables the fish to adjust the amount of light its photophores emit. The bioluminescence can be turned on and off at will and may confuse potential predators. Sea cucumbers make up the majority of the abyssal benthic fauna. The reason for their ecological success is unknown, but it is likely due to their simple body structure and low metabolic needs. Holothurians, sometimes called sea pigs, are not particularly selective about their diet and feed on any organic particles and bacteria they find in the sediment. Once satisfied, some of them take off, undulating as they swim to other feeding grounds. Kopp's arrowtooth eel dwells at a depth range of 120 to 4,800 meters, most often between 400 and 2,200 meters, and inhabits the upper abyssal zone on the continental slope. It is intolerant of the temperatures of higher waters. Males can reach a maximum total length of 1 meter. It is of no commercial interest to fisheries, but it is sometimes caught as bycatch by bottom longline and baited fish traps. Due to the widespread distribution of the species and its abundance in many regions, it is listed as least concern. Thanks to its numerous tube feet, this sea cucumber is highly mobile and can cover large areas daily. This allows it to have a more selective diet than previously thought. Stomach analysis has shown that it collects the most recently deposited organic particles on the sediment. When disturbed, the glowing holothurian lights up with a blue-green bioluminescent spiral on its body. This small octopus is reminiscent of a character from a Japanese cartoon. 14 species of Grimpeteuthis are known to researchers, but aside from basic taxonomic descriptions made from animals captured in trawl nets, these octopuses remain largely enigmatic. Submersibles often catch them resting on the seafloor, with their body spread around them. What are they doing, motionless in the darkness? No one knows. They almost passively drift above the substrate, in the depths near New Zealand. They occasionally approach it to feed, but also to lay their eggs on the branches of cold-water corals. Their extreme slowness may seem comical, but it helps them conserve precious energy. In the abyss, living at a snail's pace is as common as it is effective. These ear-like octopuses have poorly understood behavior and biology. They are frequently found near the seafloor in oceans worldwide and occasionally venture quite far into the water column. The largest specimens can reach 1.5 meters. Slender snipe eel is a fish that can weigh only a few ounces, yet reach 1.5 meter in length. Features include a bird-like beak with curving tips, covered with tiny hooked teeth, which they use to sweep through the water to catch shrimp and other crustaceans. It has a lifespan of 10 years. It has more vertebrae in its backbone than any other animal, around 750. However, its anus has moved forward during its evolution and is now located on its throat. Its larvae are shaped like leaves, which actually get smaller before transforming into adults. It may seem paradoxical that the largest isopod among the thousands of known species lives at great depths. This is explained by a phenomenon known as abyssal gigantism. Predators are rare in the abyss, animal populations are very sparse, and while food is scarce, it is relatively constant. These factors create a stable environment that allows certain creatures to grow slowly but steadily, reaching sizes much larger than their surface counterparts. The snub-nosed eel is a deep-sea species found in both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. Typically at depths of 500 to 1800 meters, it is known for its powerful jaws, which it uses to scavenge and parasitize larger fish by burrowing into their bodies. This species has a long, stout body with a blunt snout, small eyes, and fused jaws equipped with small, rounded teeth. Snub-nosed eels feed on epibenthic copepods and amphipods as juveniles, while adults primarily scavenge carcasses on the ocean floor. They are also occasionally parasitic, with recorded cases of eels entering the bodies of fish such as halibut and sharks. The species is oviparous, with eggs likely being pelagic, and sexual maturity occurs at around 50 centimeters. Despite its parasitic behavior, the eel is generally considered a facultative parasite, preying on weakened or dying fish. Similar to a string of planets, radiolarians, unable to swim, float between the deep waters. These members of the zooplankton are primitive, single-celled organisms that sometimes form spherical colonies armed with spines. These spheres feed on phytoplankton as well as active prey such as copepods, jellyfish, and other gelatinous creatures. The radiolarian species Tuscaridium cygnium is capable of producing a bioluminescent glow when disturbed. After their death, their silica skeletons fall as fine rain to the ocean floor, constituting one of the main components of abyssal sediment. The Bathysauridae are a small family of deep-water elapiform fish, related to the telescope fishes. Commonly called deep-water lizardfishes or deep-sea lizardfishes, the latter name usually refers to the species Bathysaurus ferox specifically. They can be distinguished from the lizardfishes by their flatter heads and curved and barbed teeth. They are moderately sized fish, up to 80 centimeters in length. They inhabit the deep oceans, between 400 and 2,600 meters depth. They are one of the world's deepest living apex predators, and will not hesitate to eat anything they meet, including their own kind. Their larvae were originally believed to represent a distinct genus and even family. The two bathysaurid species, Bathysaurus mollis and Bathysaurus ferox, are hermaphrodites, meaning they sport both male and female sex organs, but not much is known about their mating and breeding habits due to the great depth the two species live at. Pacific halibut have diamond-shaped bodies. They are more elongated than most flatfishes, their width being about 1/3 of their length. They have a high arch in the lateral line over the pectoral fin, and a lunate, or crescent-shaped tail, which is different from other flatfishes. Small scales are embedded in the skin. The color on the dark side varies, but tends to assume the coloration of the ocean bottom. The underside is lighter, appearing more like the sky from below. This color adaptation allows halibut to avoid detection by both prey and predator. They are one of the largest flatfish, and females can weigh up to 230 kilograms and grow to over 2.4 meters long. Halibut are strong swimmers and are able to migrate long distances. Halibut of all ages and sizes are involved in a predominantly clockwise migration from their settlement areas, and reproductive fish also make regular seasonal migrations from more shallow feeding grounds in summer to deeper spawning grounds in winter. Tuthawenia megalops is a moderately sized glass squid, known for its sexual dimorphism, with females reaching mantle lengths of 40 centimeters and males 20 centimeters. These squids have large forward-facing eyes, each with 3 bioluminescent photophores, which are key characteristics of the genus. They possess a conical, elongated mantle and long, narrow fins that extend past the body's tip. The arms are short to medium in length, with sexually modified arms in adult males. These deep-water, pelagic squid are found in the northern Atlantic Ocean, at depths of 400 to 4,500 meters, and exhibit diel vertical migration. Tuthawenia megalops has a unique flotation system that allows them to remain neutrally buoyant in the water column, making them sluggish swimmers. They have a complex life cycle, starting as paralarvae in shallow waters and maturing in deeper waters. Tuthawenia megalops are preyed upon by large predatory fish and cetaceans and have an unusual defense mechanism, inflating their bodies into a ball when threatened. Common mora is a deep-sea fish, the only species in the genus Mora. It is found worldwide in temperate seas, at depths of between 450 and 2,500 meters. Its length is up to about 80 centimeters. Other names in English include googly-eyed cod, googly-eyed cod, and ribaldo. In the month-long Norfans expedition of 2003, which was examining the biodiversity of the seamounts and slopes of the Norfolk Ridge, 594 specimens averaging 1.25 kilograms were collected from 24 locations. This large-eyed, generally gray species is of minor importance to commercial fisheries. This deep-sea holothurian is part of a group of swimming sea cucumbers that undulate slowly and gracefully in the water, sometimes far from the ocean floor. The animal's translucent texture clearly reveals its internal organs, which mainly consist of a digestive tract that sorts the ingested sediment to retain the food particles. The anypniasts move using a few methods. The first is that they move their interior veil in a rowing motion. The second is that when there is a current, the organism will use their tentacles to pull themselves down current. They also move using a pushing motion with their tentacles. Due to its unique appearance, the species has been dubbed the headless chicken fish, headless chicken monster, and the Spanish dancer. It is highly likely that the 1,000 to 2,000 tentacles of this benthic jellyfish are used to capture small crustaceans. Unlike most hydromedusae, these do not have a sessile stage. Rather, they spend their entire lives in the water column as plankton. Centripetal expansions protruding from the ring canal is a characteristic that separates this genus from other genera in the family Rhopalonematidae. The Giganturidae family consists of slender, tapered fish with large heads, featuring forward-facing telescoping eyes with large lenses. They have sharp, recurved teeth and an extensible mouth that extends past their eyes. Their bodies lack scales and are covered in iridescent guanine that gives them a greenish to purplish sheen. They have transparent, spineless fins, with a notably large, deeply forked caudal fin. These fish lack several skeletal structures, including the premaxilla and gill rakers, due to neoteny, retaining larval characteristics. The two species, Gigantura indica and Gigantura chuni, are both found in Australian waters, with indica being larger. Telescope fish are solitary predators that inhabit deep waters and use their large, tubular eyes to detect prey's bioluminescence, likely feeding on bristlemouths and lanternfish. Malacosteus niger is a deep-sea fish known for its unique red bioluminescence, which gives it a hunting advantage over other deep-sea creatures. It has yellow lenses in its eyes, enhancing its ability to perceive red light, which helps it detect bioluminescent prey. The fish's retina is made up entirely of rods, without cones, and is sensitive to red light, allowing it to detect prey in the deep ocean. It features a large gape and fang-like teeth, which help capture prey, and it lacks gill rakers, making it specialized for large prey consumption. This species does not undergo diel vertical migration, unlike other deep-sea fish, staying at depths between 500 to 2,000 meters. Malacosteus niger primarily feeds on zooplankton, such as copepods, and uses bioluminescence to aid in hunting. It has been observed to consume copepods almost exclusively, relying on this abundant food source. The fish produces red bioluminescence through a suborbital photophore, emitting light at 710 nanometers, which is invisible to most other deep-sea creatures. This bioluminescence is likely used to attract prey or to communicate. Malacosteus niger is distributed globally, from the Arctic to the southern hemisphere, and thrives in the mesopelagic zone, where its feeding habits and adaptations to red light give it a distinct ecological role. Sloane's viperfish is known for its enormous, immobile teeth, which form a cage to trap prey when its jaw is closed. The fish can unhinge its jaw to open it up to 90 degrees, allowing it to catch prey up to 63% of its own body size. It likely lures prey using a photophore or by dangling its long dorsal ray in front of its mouth, where its specialized teeth wound or retain larger prey. Its diet mainly consists of lanternfish, bony fishes, and crustaceans, and it feeds opportunistically on large prey, sometimes consuming up to 50% of its body weight. The viperfish also produces bioluminescence through photophores on its body, which can be triggered by hormones such as adrenaline. Its anatomy includes a gelatinous body, poorly ossified skeleton, and lack of a gas-filled swim bladder, typical of deep-sea species. The pelican eel is characterized by its disproportionately large mouth, which can be opened wide to swallow prey much larger than itself. The jaw is hinged and flexible, allowing it to inflate when hunting, a unique adaptation that aids in lunge feeding. This eel reaches lengths of up to 1 meter and lacks pelvic fins and scales, instead having a gelatinous body and an glomerular kidney, potentially serving as a substitute for a swim bladder. With small eyes adapted for detecting faint light, the pelican eel relies on bioluminescence from its whip-like tail, which attracts prey. Its dark coloration, enhanced by ultra-black camouflage, helps it blend into the low-light environment of the deep sea. Pelican eels exhibit sexual dimorphism, with males having a larger nasal rosette, which may help in mate detection. The pelican eel is an active predator, using its large mouth to capture small crustaceans, cephalopods, and other invertebrates, though it primarily feeds on small prey due to its tiny teeth. It has a unique feeding strategy, scooping up prey by expanding its mouth while swimming into groups of small organisms. The eel's larvae feed on marine snow, and as they mature, they develop smaller teeth suited for their changing diet. Reproduction is poorly understood, but it is believed that males undergo significant changes, such as enlarged olfactory organs, while females remain relatively unchanged. Many researchers speculate that pelican eels die shortly after reproduction, with this reproductive strategy increasing offspring survival. This fish is known for its predatory and prey behaviors in the southwestern and central western Pacific Ocean. In such regions, studies have been conducted to investigate the effects the long-nosed lancetfish has on the surrounding ecosystems, and whether those impacts are negative or positive for said ecosystems. When A. ferox was removed from these regions of the Pacific Ocean, there was a negative effect on the ecosystems that showed the importance of this species as both a predatory and prey type. The gut of the Alloposaurus ferox is a large, blind sac that also has a very unique biological response to food. The stomach will store food in the stomach and slowly digest the contents, allowing for a more in-depth understanding of the exact diet the Alloposaurus ferox have. Gigantocyprus, the largest ostracods, inhabit oceans worldwide, from tropical to polar regions. At depths of 600 to 3,500 meters they live in cold, dark waters and struggle in warmer temperatures above 15 degrees Celsius. These ostracods have globular, semi-translucent carapaces, vivid orange or red colors in life, and parabolic mirror eyes capable of detecting bioluminescent prey in the deep sea. They actively prey on smaller organisms like copepods, arrow worms, and fish larvae, using feather-like antennae for swimming and sensing. Their near-neutral buoyancy, supported by a large heart, allows them smooth, controlled movement, marking them as efficient predators in their habitat. The giant phantom jellyfish has a massive umbrella-shaped bell up to 1 meter wide and flexible enough to expand 4 to 5 times its size, with 4 paddle-like arms reaching 10 meters to trap prey like plankton and small fish. This deep-sea predator lacks stinging tentacles, relying on its arms to engulf food, and thrives in high-pressure, cold environments with its spongy tissue adapting to the deep ocean's extreme conditions. Despite its rarity, sightings have increased in Antarctic waters due to tourism submersibles, revealing its distribution at depths of 1,000 to 1,700 meters in mesopelagic zones. Hypotheses suggest these jellies may rise closer to the surface to remove parasites or are carried upward by Antarctic upwelling. Known for dominance in low-productivity systems, Stygiomedusa gigantea competes with squids and whales for resources like zooplankton, especially near hydrothermal vents. This jellyfish supports a unique symbiotic relationship with the fish Thalassobathia pelagica, offering shelter and food while the fish removes parasites. The symbiosis is maintained even if the two species are separated, highlighting the jellyfish's vital ecological role in the deep sea. Polycheilus typhlops is a blind, deep-sea decapod crustacean found worldwide, especially abundant in the Mediterranean Sea. Adults range from 5 to 10 centimeters in length, excluding elongated claws adapted for ambush predation while partially buried in sediment. Its pale exoskeleton, often whitish, orange, or yellow, matches the color of brooded eggs on the pleon. This species is distinguished by features like spines on its carapace, ridges on its uropods, and claws on all 5 pairs of pariepods. Found at depths of 350 to 2,000 meters, it preys on bony fish and crustaceans such as shrimp, mysids, and amphipods. With the pearls adorning its body that resemble stitches, this football fish could have been designed by Mary Shelley, as it strongly evokes the features of Frankenstein. Each of these beads is a sensory organ called a neuromast, which lies at the surface of the skin and allows the fish to analyze even the most imperceptible water movements with extraordinary precision. In surface-dwelling fish, neuromasts are embedded within canals. If these hypersensitive organs were as exposed as those of the football fish, they would be overwhelmed by the chaotic stimuli of waves, motion, and vibrations, potentially driving the fish insane. Venus flytrap sea anemone is a passive suspension feeder, and orients itself on its often slender column so that it faces the upwelling current. Its petal disc is small, and its tentacles are short compared to the large, concave oral disc, which is funnel or mushroom-shaped. It extends its tentacles in 2 rows, one reflexed back and one sloping forward, and collects food particles as they drift past. Although usually considered sessile, the Venus flytrap sea anemone sometimes moves, particularly as a juvenile. During deep water research off Cap Blanc, Mauritania, at depths between 1,000 and 2,000 meters, the Venus flytrap sea anemone and the irregular sea urchin Portalesia miranda were found to dominate the benthic community. Hypnops has only recently been observed in the wild, so details of their life history have mostly been inferred from the characteristics of captured specimens. They have large mouths with numerous small teeth for swallowing large prey, as well as well-developed gill rakers for capturing smaller items. Examination of stomach contents show a diet of mostly crustaceans and polychaeta worms. Their eyes are extremely modified into flat, cornea-like organs that cover most of the upper surface of the head. The purpose of these structures is debated. They are light-sensitive and may serve to detect bioluminescent prey. It has also been proposed that the organs themselves may be luminescent and act as lures. Hypnops have a well-developed lateral line, which has been suggested to have a primary sensory function given the degenerate state of their other senses. Like other bathypteroid fishes, Hypnops is hermaphroditic, with male and female gonads combined into a single organ. External fertilization is likely, possibly with ripe eggs held by the pelvic fins to facilitate fertilization. The capture of multiple specimens in single trawls suggests that these fishes may live in aggregates. Hariata hecali. It's hard not to see elephant ears in the two massive fins of this chimera. By gently undulating them, the fish manages to maintain perfect stillness a few meters above the seabed. However, the chimera spends most of its time on the slopes of the continental shelf, where it digs through the mud with its long, flexible snout. It normally lives at depths greater than 1,100 meters. This large, dark, velvety sphere was discovered in 1993 by researchers at the Mbari Institute. It is so different from other jellyfish that biologists had to create a new subfamily for it, the Tiburonini, named after the robot tiburon that first observed it. Unlike most jellyfish, it does not use stinging tentacles to catch its prey but instead deploys long, fleshy arms, whose number strangely varies between 4 and 7. Very little is known about this mysterious creature. Tiburonia gran rojo is one of the largest sea jellies and unusual in a number of ways. They live at ocean depths of 600 to 1,500 meters to date. Only 23 members of the species have been found and only one, a small specimen under 15 centimeters, has been retrieved for further study. Pycnogonids can be found at all ocean depths, but only abyssal species and their polar relatives grow to giants exceeding 50 centimeters in span. Their immense legs make them highly mobile as they roam the seafloor in search of soft, stationary prey, such as anemones, which cannot escape. They pierce their prey with a proboscis, sucking out tissue much like a straw in a milkshake. Pycnogonids are typically solitary creatures, but near hydrothermal vents, a small blind species called Amothea varini is often observed in dense aggregations. These are believed to be breeding colonies where males collect eggs from multiple females and incubate them on their abdomens. The white cotton-like flakes seen around them are bacterial filaments, which the pycnogonids feed on. Thaumaticthes axially lives at a depth of around 3,600 meters, deeper than any other member of the genus Thaumaticthes. As with other members of the family, they possess a distinctive fork-like organ inside their mouth, which they use to lure prey. Large, curved teeth fringe the upper jaw like a comb. Specimens have been found measuring up to about 50 centimeters. Sulfide worms form dense, tangled thickets around hydrothermal vents along the northeast Pacific Ridge, off the coast of Canada. While the worms spend most of their time inside of their tubes with their branchial crowns peeking out, they do engage in various behaviors such as the exploration of the environment surrounding their tube and occasional contact with surrounding worms. Exploration of the environment surrounding their tube involves the worm partially inside its tube. It utilizes its branchial filaments to brush across the surface of the chimney, and sometimes extends the upper parts of its body to sweep out across the tube entrance. Other times, the worm can be almost fully extended, with only its tail end hidden inside the tube. This exploration behavior is mainly for the purpose of finding food. During these explorations, the worm's buccal tentacles are extended over the surface of the chimney or the worm's tube. The sweeping motion the worm exhibits is thought to free up particles from these surfaces. Deep-sea fish are adapted to an environment of extreme harshness. They endure cold temperatures, perpetual darkness, and scarce food. The Sacopharynx has small eyes and a long, tapered tail that reduces water resistance. Its oversized jaws, giving it the appearance of a grotesque and fierce Kermit, open dramatically to swallow prey whole. Fortunately, the gulper eel, like the pelican eel, has an expandable stomach that stretches to accommodate the size of its catch. They are generally black in color, and can grow to lengths of 2 meters. They have been found at depths of 1,800 meters, and are known to inhabit the eastern and western Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf Stream. Their tails are tipped by a luminous, bulb-shaped organ. The exact purpose of this organ is unknown, although it is most likely used as a lure, similar to the esca of anglerfish. This species lacks a traditional gas-filled swim bladder, presumably due to the pressures at the depths they live in. Instead, the function of the swim bladder has been replaced by lymphatic spaces that run along the spine, which are filled with a gelatinous substance. This gelatinous substance is thought to be maintained by the eel's glomerular kidney. Bigfin squids are rare deep-sea cephalopods belonging to the genus Magnapinna and family Magnapinidae. They are known for their distinctive morphology, particularly their extremely long arms and tentacles, which can reach up to 8 meters. These appendages are held at right angles to their bodies, forming elbows, and their feeding behavior remains a mystery. Bigfin squids are thought to inhabit the deepest parts of the ocean, including the Hadal Zone, with sightings as deep as 62-12 meters. The first specimen, Magnapinna talismani, was discovered in 1883, but the family Magnapinidae was formally established in 1998 based on juvenile specimens. The species became widely known in 2001 when footage from the Gulf of Mexico revealed the striking appearance of adult bigfin squids. Unlike other cephalopods, their arms and tentacles are identical in length and appearance, resembling extinct belemnites. Estimates suggest that some individuals may reach a total length of 12 meters, with their long elastic tentacles coiling for extension. Despite their size, no adult physical specimens have been collected, leaving their biology and ecology largely unknown. Bigfin squids likely feed by dragging their appendages along the seafloor or passively waiting for prey to contact their tentacles. Their large fins, up to 90% of their mantle length, aid in their unique movement. Observations suggest a translucent body with brown-orange coloring, near-white tentacles, and dark eyes. The genus Magnapinna is closely related to other deep-sea squids like Jabinoteuthis, but its unique features set it apart as one of the most mysterious creatures of the deep. Until 1979, when people thought of a worm, the image of a colorless earthworm immediately came to mind. The discovery of giant and beautifully colored creatures found near hydrothermal oases in the eastern Pacific completely changed this view. These amazing animals live in symbiosis with chemosynthetic bacteria that provide them with nourishment. It took specialists some time to understand how the animal functioned, as they initially believed it to be a filter feeder. Robert Ballard recalls their disbelief: without eyes, mouth, or any other apparent organ for absorbing food or excreting waste, it was neither a worm, nor a snake, nor an eel, but it was also not a plant. It was the strangest creature we had ever seen. Bigfoot or Yeti, this crustacean with long, hairy arms certainly evoke a legendary primate. Discovered in 2005 on the ridge more than 2,000 meters deep off Easter Island, this small, shaggy, blind galatate crustacean caused a media frenzy. The researcher behind its discovery, Michel Saganzak, wondered, why this sudden excitement? Have people sought to escape the present by reconnecting with the comforting side of a child's stuffed animal, a symbol of regained security? In terms of emotional projection, Kiwa hirsuta had an immediate impact. Within the week following its discovery, a plush toy was made in its likeness in Japan. The animal has strongly reduced eyes that lack pigment, and is thought to be blind. The hairy pincers contain filamentous bacteria, which the creature may use to detoxify poisonous minerals from the water emitted by the hydrothermal vents where it lives. This process is known as chemosynthesis. Lipid and isotope analyses provide evidence that epibiotic bacteria are the crab's main food source, and Kiwa puravita has highly modified setae on its third maxilliped which it uses to harvest these bacteria. Yeti crabs receive most of their essential nutrients from chemosynthetic episymbiotic bacteria which grows on hair-like setae. This chemosynthetic episymbiotic bacteria can be found growing from numerous areas of their ventral surface as well as their appendages. The proteobacteria that this methane deep species farms are closely related to hydrothermal vent decapod epibionts. Alternatively, it may be a carnivore, although it is generally thought to feed on bacteria. The scaly-foot gastropod has a three-layered shell, a rare and remarkable trait. The outer layer is made of iron sulfides, the middle layer consists of organic material, and the innermost layer is made of aragonite, a form of calcium carbonate. This iron-based outer layer is what gives the creature its scaly appearance, offering both strength and protection against predators. Chrysomalin squamiferum lives at extreme depths of the Indian Ocean, around hydrothermal vent ecosystems. These vents emit toxic chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, which the gastropod tolerates. Its unique shell protects it from the harsh environment, including the high pressure, low temperatures, and toxic substances. The outer layer of its shell, which is composed of iron sulfides, has been compared to a biological armor. This layer, along with the inner aragonite layer, helps the snail resist both environmental pressures and potential predators in its deep-sea habitat. It is a critically endangered species. Its specialized habitat, near hydrothermal vent systems, makes it vulnerable to threats such as mining of the deep ocean floor and the destruction of these unique environments due to human activity. The scaly-foot gastropod's evolutionary path is fascinating due to its adaptation to the extreme deep-sea environment. Its shell structure and ecological role are unlike any other known gastropod, making it a subject of intense interest for evolutionary biologists and materials scientists alike. The small size of this fish's eyes compared to its nostrils indicates that, in its habitat, vision is secondary to the sense of smell. Bean's big scale is dark brown or black in color, with a maximum length of 12 centimeters. It is one of the largest and deepest dwelling ridgeheads. It has 2 dorsal spines, 1 anal spine, 10 to 11 dorsal soft rays and 7 to 9 anal soft rays. Its caudal peduncle, the tapered region behind the dorsal and anal fins where the caudal fin attaches to the body, is long. It has ridges of thin bones supporting deep mucous cavities on the head. This strange organism, resembling a 60s lamp, is a sponge. Unlike its counterparts that filter water to capture the particles they feed on, this one catches its prey on its spheres using tiny filamentous hooks called spicules, which act like a Velcro strip. This triggers a reaction in the cells, which gradually migrate toward the prey to digest it. Once the small crustacean or worm is consumed, after several days, the cells return to their original position. Fossils assignable to this genus are known since the Pleistocene, less than 2 million years ago. But given its deep-sea habitat, Chondrocladia may well have been around for much longer, perhaps since the Mesozoic, as characteristic spicules, almost identical to those of some living Chondrocladia, are known from early Jurassic rocks almost 200 million years old. There is intense territorial competition among hydrothermal creatures to access areas well exposed to fluid circulation. This part of the bush has clearly been claimed by the Jericho worms, which are smaller than their larger neighbors, the giant rifsha worms. When threatened by the approaching Bathygraea crabs, which cut off pieces of their gills, the worms retract into their tubes. These worms both rely exclusively on a single species of sulfide-oxidizing endosymbiotic bacteria for their nutrients. However, they do thrive in different geochemical conditions. Hydrothermal vents arise when Earth's tectonic plates spread apart, where magma interacts with seawater to create an environment for certain types of microbes. The Pompeii worm is the only creature on Earth that lives at temperatures approaching 80 degrees Celsius. It has made its home on the walls of active hydrothermal vents, where they regularly collapse, destroying the network of organic tubes the worm secretes. How this animal manages to withstand the extreme toxicity of its environment remains a mystery. It is possible that its white bacterial filaments help neutralize the harmful chemical compounds. While it is not yet known precisely how the Pompeii worm survives these severe vent conditions, scientists suspect the answer lies in the fleece-like bacteria on the worm's back. This layer may be up to 1 centimeter thick. The bacteria may possess special proteins, euthermal enzymes, providing the bacteria, and by extension the worms, protection from a wide range of temperatures. Studies are hampered by the difficulties of sampling. It is currently quite difficult for Pompeii worms to survive decompression. The squid worm, a unique species, measures between 2 to 9 centimeters in body length, with adults turning light black when preserved. Its body is divided into 25 segments, each with large flattened paddle-shaped notopodia, which are used for swimming and have over 50 bristles. The head has 5 pairs of appendages, 4 of which are sensory and breathing organs, and the 5th pair are feeding palps. The creature's semi-transparent body reveals its internal anatomy, including visible nerve cords, a heart, and gonads in the second to fourth segments. The squid worm is a suspension feeder, consuming marine snow, organic material that falls from the upper ocean. It is proficient in swimming with its paddle-like notopodia. This species appears to be a common member of the benthopelagic community in the Celebes Sea basin. For about 50 years, it has been known that the overwhelming majority of planetary volcanic activity occurs in the oceans. However, discovering that lava can be made of pure asphalt, as is the case with the lava covering the chain of hills at 2,900 meters deep in the southern Gulf of Mexico, is a groundbreaking revelation. Moreover, the fact that living creatures are able to extract the energy needed to live and grow from it is truly exceptional. As researcher Ian MacDonald emphasizes, this discovery shows how alive the planet is from top to bottom and how much it can still surprise us. This paganophore has a lifespan that ranks among the longest in the animal kingdom, 250 years. Like its hydrothermal cousins, it consumes hydrogen sulfide through the bacteria it shares its environment with. However, unlike them, the worm has roots that penetrate the substrate in search of the resources it needs. It is possible that the worm also uses its roots to reintroduce its sulfate waste into the sediment. This ingenious adaptation may help stimulate the production of hydrogen sulfide near its roots, which nourishes it, and could explain the animal's exceptional longevity. The paganophore lives near hydrocarbon seeps, environments that are much more stable over time than hydrothermal vents. Thalassocalus is a genus of ctenophores found in the California coast, Gulf of Mexico, and West North Atlantic, represented by a single species, Thalassocalus inconstans. This species lives primarily in the upper mesopelagic zone but has been observed as deep as 3,500 meters in Monterey Canyon. Due to its fragility, it is difficult to sample using traditional methods, but modern techniques like scuba diving and submersibles have allowed for more detailed study. Its unique morphology includes a hemispherical bell without auricles and muscular lobes, resembling a medusa-like structure. This species shares some traits with sediped and lobate ctenophores but is distinct in having an unmuscular, fused body plan. It is a predator that feeds on krill and small crustaceans, using its bell to capture prey passively. When prey contacts its expanded bell, it triggers a rapid contraction that traps the prey in mucus.